Tuesday was a busy day in government, starting with the Board of Health in the morning. The meeting began with a hearing for a home burial mausoleum at 8 Suffolk Drive. After a brief discussion, the project was approved. Following the hearing, the board discussed the upcoming Hazardous Waste Day on May 8th, and then Impact Norwood Director Aubrey Seall presented on their new We Are the Norm campaign. To end the meeting, Sigala Reese provided her director's report. The next Board of Health meeting is scheduled for May 17th. The Board of Selectmen were introduced to the town's new finance director at this week's meeting. Meg LeMay has been selected to fill the vacancy that will be left by current finance director Tom McQuaid following his retirement.
Meg, if you'd be kind enough to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you are now, what you do, and anything else you'd like to say.
Sure. So right now, I am the finance director for the town of Carver. Previously, I was the finance director in Situate, and then town accountant in Situate, town accountant in the town of Hanson. I did graduate from Holy Cross. I went to Suffolk University for my master's degree. It was a master's in taxation, but I also had what's known as a GDPA. It's basically just the accounting classes to sit for the CPA exam. I do have my CPA. I am a certified public accountant. So I think that's pretty much all the highlights.
Ms. LeMay is excited to be joining the community, and we look forward to having her here in town. The Board of Selectmen will meet again next week. The final meeting of Tuesday night was the Zoning Board. The meeting began by nominating Scott Murphy as the new chair of the board. The first case was an addition to a house on Pine Street. The applicants asked for an extension to the next meeting on May 4th at 7 p.m., and the board motioned to approve the extension. Next, the board discussed the UAV LLC 180-day extension request and came to a conclusion to take no action on it at this time. The second case of the evening was an addition to a house on Gay Street. The board motioned to close the hearing and approve the addition. The final case of the night was a continued hearing on the East Hoyle Street sign. The board ended the meeting by motioning to close the hearing and approve the sign on East Hoyle Street. The Zoning Board will meet again on May 4th. The Conservation Commission met Wednesday night and discussed the fate of a small fort that was constructed on conservation land out at University Ave. Conservation agent Holly Jones visited the site and reported back to the board.
Yeah, so again, this is something that was briefly touched on at our last meeting and was not anticipated and on the agenda. But this is a matter that was brought to my attention by Mr. Greeley, who I always appreciate for being eyes and ears on many of our land. So as Mr. Washburn noted earlier, this is a fairly large structure on University Ave, but it's sort of like a little cabin or lean-to, fairly deep into the woods out of sight from the road. And so I think the Conservation Commission has a question of how to address this structure and structures like it in the future, possibly.
Commission Chairman Stephen Washburn realized what the issue could be.
I would start just by offering that my position on this is that, having visited the site and really spent a lot of time there kind of taking it all in, there's considerable amount of disturbance that occurred to the property to make this happen. There was some clearing that occurred. There was some small diameter stumps present. There was the shovel I mentioned, approximately 10 to 12 inch in diameter, more than a foot deep penetrations in the ground, a fire pit constructed. I don't see how, and I'm very open-minded, but I don't see how we could proceed in any other direction than to remove this structure and to contend this type of disturbance on our properties.
The Concom will meet again in the coming weeks. Thursday night, the town of Norwood hosted Municipal Finance 101 via Zoom. Municipal Finance 101 is a great way for new town meeting members to get a quick look at how the town of Norwood operates its finances and gives town meeting members a better understanding of the items they could potentially be voting on. And for complete government coverage, tune into the NCM Government channel or watch it on demand at norwoodcommunitymedia.org.